I wanted to bring up this thing. Caitlin Johnstone was featured a lot on RT, but she's an independent writer, and she is very anti-imperialist, very anti-war, but understands this point of history and has kind of told Russia's side a bit. And she just had the machine come after her. I don't know if you saw this. But
I follow her closely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you saw the diplomat, they're actually trying to go after her finances.
Yeah. And again, what's so interesting is that the reason why Russia is losing the information war, hold on a second, time out, Tara. I thought that they were the one that knew how to influence an election.
Right.
So how can you influence an election but not influence the people on how to think? The point is that they did neither. And again, when I talk to, because I have colleagues over at RT, and when they watch RT America and when they turn on like CNN America, because CNN has branches all over the world, just like RT America, just like RT, they're like, wow, like the music, the lights, the breaking news in your face. It's like what would it be like to have a stroke, where the anchors are just telling you like, oh my God. And then underneath breaking. And you're just like, I don't even know. Should I be scared? Should I be worried?
Right.
And that's what they want you to feel like. Whereas you go over, another great example, I always worked in local news. Before I got to RT America, I knew some foreign policy, but for example, I knew Israel good, Iran bad. You learn the basics. But when I got to RT and I learned more and more and more, you realize like, whoa, we're so inundated. You go over to Europe and you see their newscasts. They have a little bit of local news, about, hey, there was, a fire here and this here. They have huge blocks of foreign policy and what's going on in Europe. And I think a lot of it's because the countries are so close together, they have to get along. The United States, it's all about what's going on here. Over in Europe, you don't see a lot of the social woke problems that you see here on the news because it's supposed to divide us 24/7. That's what they want. Because when you're divided, you're not paying attention.
Right, exactly. And the division is actually very illusionary, isn't it? If we're divided, then we won't notice what's really going on. And for instance, as you know, today, there was some breaking news about peace talks, which really isn't on. We'll see what happens later with some media, mainstream media later on. But the only place I've been seeing it is actually RT. And they were talking about some substantive steps that have been taken today in Turkey during those peace talks. So hopefully, it'll be covered. But what was interesting was that the West was, I think it was Blinken put out a tweet saying, look for Russians being deceptive. Whereas other, international outlets were saying this was a substantive talk. This was good. And Zelensky himself saying this was productive. So, or that messaging coming in. So, anyway, I think I have a clip here, Oz. I don't know if you're ready for that. But it was from RT International. So let's. Yeah, let's try to start it. It's at the 2:08. Yeah, 2:08. Let's start there, and then we'll finish at 5:20. And we have Don Corder is the reporter. You know him.
Love Don.
Yeah, Donald. Yeah. So he's reporting from Turkey. So, and Oz is going to try to bring that up for us. So that'll be good. I don't know. I want your thoughts, Faran, on it.
And also too, for those that don't know Don, again, RT International reporter, is an American living in Russia. Again, so a lot of people that don't understand RT International and how it works, there's a lot of people over there that are Americans that, and that's the one thing is Russia welcomes Americans over there to be their journalists because they see, wow, you're actually going to question our government even harder. Everybody thinks that RT over in Moscow is a propaganda network when in reality, they do question the government over there just as much as we question our government here, a common myth that's not known over there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here we go. And I think it's just about to come up here, but what I find striking too is what you mentioned is that you have, journalists that are, go over there and they're not asked to give up if they want to stay, to give up their US passports. They actually can have dual citizenship. There's a welcomingness there with Russia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew? I think they just, I think that we're so used to hearing bad things about Russia, but actually, the city, Moscow, it got, what was it? Voted number one as far as, or number two?
It's number one internationally. I mean, I've gotten in cabs here with folks from Somalia, and they're like, RT. So
yeah,
they know it.
Yeah, here we go, Oz. If you want to go ahead and do your magic, whatever that is.
Shout out to Oz.
Shout out to Oz to B&B Engineering. Thank you.
We proceed from the fact that Kiev will take the relevant key decisions and that conditions must be created for further normal work.
Let's get the latest from our correspondent in Istanbul now, Donald Quarter. Don, now you've seen the statements from the Russian delegation. What else do we know about these proposals right now?
Well, Nikki, this round of negotiations has really seen a number of major diplomatic breakthroughs. As we just heard, Russia has agreed to significantly reduce its military offensive in two parts of Ukraine. And on top of that, the Russian delegation has also said that it's received written guarantees from Ukraine that the country is committed to being a neutral country and that it's going to stay away from nuclear weapons. On the other hand, we also heard from the Ukrainian delegation that they say they've put forward a concrete plan for security guarantees that will involve a number of countries, including some in the UN Security Council, to enforce that. And we also heard from the head of the Russian delegation who said that a meeting may be possible soon between the countries of both Russia and Ukraine. This is something that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has long said he wanted to see happen. All that needs to happen for this to take place is for the foreign ministers of both countries to sign their initials on a peace deal.
We have agreed and are proposing a solution according to which a meeting of the heads of state is possible simultaneously with the initialing of a treaty by foreign ministers, especially as meanwhile it is possible to discuss political details.
Now, it's important to note that the night before these talks started to take place, the Western media was at it again, spreading hysterical, unconfirmed claims. These fake stories accused Russian quote-unquote hardliners for poisoning a number of people that were connected to these negotiations earlier this month. One of the main victims of this fantasy was Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich, and this guy actually was caught on camera today at the negotiations looking fine and healthy. I even saw him. He walked right by me, and he did indeed look healthy. So at least BBC did issue an apology for what it called a mistake, but Moscow considers this just one episode in a larger information war.
This is part of the information campaign, part of the information war. It doesn't correspond to reality. They are in Istanbul now. And this is part of the war, and you need to carefully filter the information.
So the West story of Moscow trying to poison its own people on its negotiating team fell flat. But here is a real story for you. Denis Kureyev was actually on Ukraine's delegation until the Ukrainian secret police killed him. And the reasoning they gave for that, they said that he was accused of treason, even though no evidence was given for that and no trial was held. So
Tell me your thoughts on that.
Okay, so for those that don't know, I'm on Sputnik. I'm now the co-host of Fault Lines, and this is the exact thing that our news director talked about this morning. He was like, "Hey, we need to talk about Abramovich tomorrow, who is claiming that he was poisoned." And the BBC just came out. That was this morning, confirming that he had been poisoned. To hear now that he had not been, that he issued a statement. And for those that don't know Abramovich, he's the owner of the Chelsea Football League in England, kind of a big guy over there. And they've been really pressuring him to resign, to step down, what have you. To have it come out where he was not poisoned and that the BBC issued an apology. What's the apology? You already stirred everybody up anyway.
Yeah.
And this is another problem with journalism. It's be first, not factual. And I don't know when news changed, but it only really changed with the West. I'll tell you, when I was in those RT newsrooms, if everything was, is it confirmed? Is it confirmed? If it's not confirmed, you're not going with it. And I can't even tell you how many times I had leads on stuff and they're like, well, it's not confirmed yet. You can't go with it. And it was like, ugh. But part of me was having to get rid of that Western ideology of just do it first, do it first. So again, Russia is losing this information war, but you know what? I'd rather have them lose the information war and be honest actors and have people figure out that the West is full of crap.